it's growing, it's becoming like a flea market. Not at home, but because I don't want to throw them away. But this was an exhibition I did last year where I built a sort of arch of triumph with all this mail art work. It was a sort of parody of it was like 30 years of mail art commemoration with this arch, which was built like kids' boxes, so if somebody would bump into it, it would just fall down because they were just one on top of the other. And someone actually did at the opening of the show. Someone leant on it. So we had to, but the idea was that that could happen, and it was a game to put it up again. I had the whole floor of the room where I made this installation covered with real letters. Envelopes and letters I received, so people were just always shuffling this thing because it was not glued, it was just strewn on the floor, all these letters. I like this playfulness of the mail art. This is another thing I did where they asked me to make a sculpture for an exhibition of sculpture, so I made this. It probably don't work here because it's too but I just brought these things, and people had to build their sculpture any way they want, you know. It's a different way of doing it. And each one of these is like a deck of cards. It's all made with the letters I received. And on one side there's a blown up page of stamps. So little by little you build a little. Which was my idea. My idea from the beginning was that the art more or less was finished with Duchamp and all the rest. So all was left to do is to play all together. That's why I like mail art, because it becomes more like a collaboration, sort of utopian network. Well, every time you can build it a little different. You just play with the cards. So this is the kind of. I never did it this way. So at the end of the show, probably people would have thrown it down and built it in a different way. And since this is another series for a show that you know that old song, I think from California from the 60s, "You Are on My Mind." That we have an Italian version, "Ho in mente te," is the same, perfectly the same translation. So I made this series of collage where there's the silhouette of my face in each of them, but each of them is dedicated to a different contact, a different male artist, using some pieces from his correspondence. So it's like I have you in my mind. In each one of these, I have a different person in my mind, and I will put the show where each one of these I would put my collage on top, which is two-sided anyway, and one work of the person which is referring to beneath it. So I will have like 30 collages I made dedicated to 30 authors, and then 30 works of the authors, and then I will make a little catalog which I send to the 30 people, so they have like a sort of a gift. They don't know they are in this exhibition. And then I downloaded from YouTube, from eMule, that sort of networks. I found 20 or 25 different versions of the song. So there will be always this You Are on My Mind playing in all kind of different versions while you see the show. And part of this, which is playing with silhouette, which is somehow linked to Ray Johnson, which is a little bit like the father of the old mail art idea. That's what is going to happen anyway, that it will fall down. You can throw it down if you want. And So Ray Johnson used to do a lot of works based on the silhouette, and so what I plan to do is I leave one wall of this gallery white, and have just a light pointing on it, and at the opening I take the silhouette of the people who was there and have them sign, and then people can do it by themselves because it's very easy. If you have a strong light and a white wall, you see the shadow and you just make a silhouette. So I like this, every time I do something, to have it that involves other people and it becomes a sort of a game. It's like for this thing I'm doing downstairs. It would have been so easy for me. We have this big museum, each artist has his own room, and I could just have done a couple of my own things and put it there. Instead I send out this open invitation that theoretically I ask for artist books or anti-books or no books about utopia, the idea of utopia, and I say pass on this invite and everybody may participate. So I mean this is like if you jump without a net, because if you receive 1,000 books, of course you keep the books which may have a value, but you have to make 1,000 copies of a catalog and send it to 1,000, and so it becomes incredibly expensive. So I just took the risk because I know I was late when I sent out the invitation. It was only 2 months to the show, so I didn't expect that many. I thought maybe 100, 150, and that's more or less what I'm getting. But it could have gone without control, because if people would just from one website to the other, and then if I get maybe 500 works, I would have a lot of problem to put them in one room, and so I like the risk involved in doing this sort of things.